For months, Centrelink has been sending out debt notices to welfare recipients it claims haven't told the truth about their income. But now the agency is being accused of getting its own numbers wrong.
These are real human decisions with real human consequences. They're complicated decisions, and if we're using a blunt and inaccurate system of data matching, it's just going to lead to unfairness, which in practical terms means people being impoverished and not getting what they're entitled to under our social security system.
I've had at least 4 people now approach me in my office who I would describe as presenting as suicidal, and in all those cases we've taken what action we thought was appropriate.
I feel like I've been treated like I'm a liar and a thief, and that they just believe that I've done the wrong thing, and they're making it extremely hard to do anything to rectify the situation.
Amanda Stilby's been trying to explain to Centrelink that the $1,300 bill it demands she pay is incorrect. The money's due in a month, but she hasn't been able to make her case.
I went down to Centrelink and lined up, and when I got to the front of the line, the lady just said, "Nope, you can't do that in person, you have to do it on the phone because the people here don't have access to it."
The error, she believes, has been with the way Centrelink has matched the fortnightly income she declared during 2011-12 and her tax records from the same year.
Of course there's going to be a discrepancy because I only started on partial New Start at the end of December. And I was working full-time, then went to part-time, and then went to part-time with New Start, and then wasn't working at all. So, of course, the figures between the two aren't going to match.
You present the risk. Welfare lawyers say cases like Amanda Stilby's point to a flaw in the data matching software.
Most types of benefits are calculated fortnightly, and they take into account your income, which is earned fortnightly. It's not an average over a one-year period, but unfortunately, an average over a one-year period is what's being used in this data matching system. To put it simply, there are a bunch of assumptions built into this data matching system, and some of them are inconsistent with social security law. They're wrong.
The Minister for Social Services rejects the claim that the initial notice to the welfare recipient is based on any averaging of income.
The only time that would occur is if someone has failed to respond to the letter generated by the software requesting further information. So if you received a letter saying that the ATO has records of you receiving this much income, and that's different from what was reported to Centrelink at the relevant time, that letter is a request for further information. Now, if you ignored that letter, and you have 3 weeks to respond to that letter, but if you ignored that letter, it may be the case that the assumption is that the ATO were correct and a debt is raised against you on that basis.
A social media storm has been gathering intensity since Centrelink started sending out the letters in July.
Centrelink are boasting that they're sending out something like 20,000 debt recovery letters a week. The methodology behind the calculation is wrong, and it's obviously wrong. I mean, it's been designed by a dunderhead.
To have several hundred complaints and that level of disquiet inside a system that has 169,000 compliance notices over the last 6 months and has raised back to the taxpayer $300 million worth of debt, worth of overpayments, I don't think is an unfair or unreasonable system.
For a second day, the Social Services Minister has come out to defend the system.
Well, I think that there have been a number of cases raised in the media, and I think 2 will be on your show tonight. The debt has been raised against the individuals in question because they failed to respond to the initial notice requesting information. Even after that point, we will look at further information that they may provide. But we are under an obligation to the taxpayer to check when a difference is highlighted between reporting to the ATO and reporting to Centrelink, which is correct. And if you don't respond to that request for information inside the 21-day period, then a debt may be raised against you.
Behind every one of these letters is a real person, a family who's struggling to make ends meet, or a young person looking for work. And what we're seeing is those people being faced with real stress and the possibility of a debt which shouldn't be raised against them that they'll have to pay back to Centrelink.
We are experiencing high demand on our service officers, and there may be lengthy delays. Your expected wait time is more than 35 minutes.
George Burkett believes he's also been incorrectly assigned a debt of more than $7,000, and he's trying to speak with Centrelink about it.
They're just putting too much pressure on everyone, especially all the oldies. We've paid our taxes, we've lived our... Well, I'm 69 and I've worked all those years and I'm still working. So, no, they're just bullying us. That's all they are. 45.
George Burkett works part-time as a disability carer, and Centrelink says petrol costs reimbursed to him as part of his job should have been declared as income. So now it's started deducting money for the debt from his fortnightly pension.
I'm short on the house payments. I've gone right through all my... I think I've got about $2,000 left in the kitty, and that's it. Well, it's starting to put me under stress now.
Critics want the government to rein the new system in.
Letters that have been sent shouldn't be acted on, and debts that have been raised should be paused while we get things right.
We have a responsibility to the taxpayer to make sure that welfare recipients are not overpaid. And where there is an information which is available to us as a government which suggests that the earnings reported to Centrelink are different from the earnings reported by an employer to the ATO, we have a responsibility to check and to seek further information. And we can't abrogate that responsibility because in a small number of cases people might be upset by the inquiry.